Good. All right. Hey, everyone. So unfortunately, our CEO and actually who's also one of the founding volunteers for AcadianaCARES, our CEO, Claude Martin, cannot be here today, so it's just me and Emily, and we're going to be winging part of this. So, so thank you for thank you for your patience. So yeah, my name is Colin Miller. I just say I'm the communications person. My actual title is I'm the strategic communications, and I have to read it. The strategic communications and creative lead at AcadianaCARES. I needed a title that kind of encompassed, a whole lot of creative work in addition to the strategic part. So aside from overseeing and also doing a lot of the creative stuff, such as graphic design, photography, working on the website, all of that kind of stuff, I also do what I can to try to get the word out into the community about the services we offer, also just communicate to various communities within Lafayette, such as queer communities or communities of color, the things about issues that they need to know, issues that affect them, and what some of the prevention methods are out there, and try to increase access and awareness about all these things. So I can say as a communications person, one of the things that we consistently hear at AcadianaCARES, because we invite people out to visit us quite a lot, and I invite any and all of you to come see us anytime. One of the things that we consistently hear is, I didn't know you guys were here. And they would look around, we give them a tour, their jaws on the floor, always. And they're like, I had no idea you guys did so much stuff. I had no idea you did all these services. I had no idea that X health issue was a problem in our community, right? So that, it's my job to change that and to try to grow some awareness around this stuff. I originally came in October. Our CEO, Claude Martin, hired me in part to get the word out, not just about our services and what we do, but that it is our 40th anniversary, and to do events around the 40th, celebrating how far we've come. I'll give you just a kind of a quick story. A quick anecdote to give you an idea of the growth of the organization, just from a dollar perspective. Claude was telling a story recently about in the mid-'80s, in the middle of the AIDS crisis, when this was an all-volunteer group, that they were scrambling to pull together whatever they could to write a grant for $34,000. And just this past year, for this fiscal year, our board just approved a budget of $34 million. So that, pretty incredible growth there. We are a highly ethical organization in the way that we do things. We take that very seriously. We take fiscal responsibility very seriously. We take the diversification of our funding very seriously, because funding and grants and stuff from the government, depending on who's in office and all that stuff can change very quickly. So it's really important that organizations like ours are able to ride those waves. And I'm sure I think we have a lot of people who work in the nonprofit sectors here, so you know what I'm talking about. So I'll point out in this photo, so these are from the early 90s. So the guy here holding the pride flag is Claude Martin. Really kind of a living, I would say a living legend in our community. Then way over here on the left, also a living legend, Sarah Brabant. Yeah, amazing person. And she really doesn't look, this is from the early 90s, she really doesn't look that different right now. She's 93, 94, and she was one of the few social workers who was willing to just sit in the room with patients who were dying of AIDS in the late 80s and early 90s. So we were a group of volunteers. We started as that, and we're that way for a while. And what we did was we connected patients who were dying, and we tried to make them comfortable, and we connected them using an anonymous number system with the very few people who were willing to provide care. One of them was Sarah Brabant. Another name that comes to mind is Dr. Ernest Wong, who passed away in the mid-90s. I went to school with his kids, but his wife, Carol Wong, is well known as someone who was very active in the community in Lafayette. So it's pretty cool that I got to, like, at some point in my life, even though I was a kid, I got to meet him and know who he was. So very few caregivers. We were connecting patients through a number system. Since then, we have grown into an organization that covers all of these areas: housing, medical care, mental health care, HIV care and support, and substance use recovery. We are an organization that I would say exists and works very, very hard at the intersection of all of these things. Housing was the first one that we got into when we started to branch out of just HIV care. Because our CEO and a number of other people, both locally and nationally, started to understand that housing is healthcare. You cannot, if you're a person living with HIV, you cannot take your medications and just take care of yourself if you do not have stable housing and a roof over your head. And so AcadianaCARES built a program for that. And that's the same goes for substance use. Substance use, HIV, housing insecurity, all of these things, they intersect at some point. And at those intersections, that's where we try to work to help people. So very first housing programs we built in the early 2000s. Substance use services we started in 2009. And our health clinic first opened in, the first iteration of our current health clinic opened in 2011. Pretty cool. I was one of the early patients at that clinic. That's where I went to get all my testing done. So with all of that, we say that we provide integrated care. Another big buzz term that you might hear a lot these days is wraparound care and wraparound support. And I guess the way that I like to explain that is, think of it as when a patient comes in or a client comes in, we triage them. Not in the same way you would at a hospital, but we look at all the factors in their life, whether it's housing insecurity, whether it's substance use disorders, whether they may or may not be living with HIV. We look at all of those things and we put together a plan for them in a way that is comprehensive and holistic. Our growth, so when I first became aware of AcadianaCARES, it was in 2002. I was fresh out of high school, and I heard about this program called Empowerment that was supposed to be a place for young gay men under the age of 30, specifically to meet other gay men outside of the bar scene. Because if you know anything about the queer community, it's that we love to go out to bars. And so it was to create a safe space, talk about safe sex in a place that didn't involve alcohol, right? Then that was downtown. It was Vine and 2nd Street. Well, at some point we had this property donated to us. I don't know how many acres it is, but the two buildings that you see that are parallel here altogether, it's over 80,000 square feet. 40,000 of that now is dedicated specifically to our substance use program. And that's the one on the right here. And that is where Emily works, who I'll introduce in a second. So that is our main campus on MLK Drive. Then more recently, see at the very top of that, so we just bought this entire property But at the very top of it, you can see that's our 8,900 square foot clinic that we just purchased. It was called Pride Plaza, and we still call it Pride Plaza, but now it's AcadianaCARES at Pride Plaza. Pride Plaza was started by a group of Black doctors in the 70s as a community health center and a way to bring healthcare to the north side of Lafayette. And when we found out that they were closing, we thought that's a perfect opportunity. And a couple of the doctors who actually were there in the 70s and started it are still involved with us today. So, which is really an honor, to be honest. It's really, really cool to have them involved and to be part of that legacy. Yeah, so this is the clinic. It's primary care, mental health care. We have doctors, we have nurse practitioners, we have psychiatric nurse practitioners, therapists, and counselors on staff. That is Dr. Moses Bramo. He is our medical director, both for the clinic and for our Seasons of Serenity substance use program. He has a specialization in HIV. He also has a lot of training and specialized experience working with substance use disorders. So when we found him, it was really incredibly perfect match. So yeah, really love this guy. All right, we also added a pharmacy very recently that integrates with our, it's going a little wonky here. The pharmacy is also an important source of income for our organization, and it integrates with with 340B programs, which is a federal program to make medications more affordable, basically. This gives you a little bit of an idea of the scale. So over 4,000 individuals served across all of our programs annually. Just last year, we served almost 2,400 unique patients just at the clinic. And so I talked a little bit about housing, I talked about the clinic, and now I want to introduce to you our Seasons of Serenity program, which started in 2009. It is our substance use program. That is Emily. I want to play a quick 30-second video, if we could. Right Angle recently developed this ad for us. You might have seen it.
Announces a new 28-day substance use treatment program in our residential facility just off Martin Luther King Drive. With group therapy, horticulture therapy, fresh cooked meals, and our nearby clinic and pharmacy, AcadianaCARES offers a unique environment for substance use treatment. Ask about Seasons of Serenity at AcadianaCARES.
Sorry for the blue cast on top of it, but you get the idea. Thank you. So, Seasons of Serenity has had for quite some time a 90-day program as well as intensive outpatient treatment, which is IOP. Can you do that? Oh yeah, sorry. Let's see. And we just added a 28-day program. It's brand new. We also include aftercare and planning in that. Part of the therapy, which I'll get to in a second, is also horticulture therapy. But I want to talk a little bit about this is some of what Claude was going to be here for, and that is what inspires change. So creativity. What does creativity, art, nature, design, and community change, and all that? What is the relationship between all of those? So there was a play in the early 80s that Claude pushed Claude and a group of actors and people who wanted to put on this show were pushing really, really hard to put on this play called A Normal Heart in the 80s. And finally they were able to put it on. And it actually it spurred a lot of new interest in what was going on with HIV/AIDS, which at the time was just AIDS, or many people refer to it as GRID. So it brought a lot of attention not only to the queer community in Lafayette, but also what was happening to the queer community with the disease. And by the way that he's always told the story is it spurred a lot of doctors and people who were kind of staying back. They were kind of holding back, saying, I don't really want to get involved in that. And then suddenly the community started saying, my God, we have to do something about this. And he credits the show with that happening. And then suddenly after that, there were a lot more people working in the medical field in Lafayette who said, oh, we should start an organization, or we should do something. So that is how art can really change things. Another big change maker, if you are over 45 or 50, you know who Ryan White was. It's amazing when I talk to, I'm 42, or I'm about to be 42. When I talk to people my age and younger, I'm amazed at how many of them have never heard of Ryan White. They're like, I think I've heard of a grant called Ryan White. But yeah, so Ryan White was a young boy who got HIV and then developed AIDS because of a blood transfusion in the 90s. And it became a huge public thing. It really changed the face of the movement. And people realized it wasn't just gay guys in their mid-30s who you wanted to stay away from, right? It really changed the way that people saw the epidemic. And today, we get a significant amount of funding through our Ryan White grant. So, building a healing environment. Claude has always said that he wants AcadianaCARES to be an oasis of care. And with his background in substance use treatment, and with his background in horticulture and plants and having family members who run a nursery and all of that, it really became, it was a perfect fit for him to look at this giant campus that was donated to us in 2009, and there were a lot of people who passed up this place. So this is our main campus on MLK Drive. And I don't have the old photos of it, but a lot of people turned this down. Like, it was offered for free to a number of other groups and organizations who all said, what the hell are we gonna do with that? Mm-hmm. And Claude said, I have a vision, right? So this is what it looks like today. Plants everywhere, it's gorgeous. And with that, I am going to hand this over to Emily Newstrom, who is she is our horticulture therapist, and also the person who is responsible for keeping AcadianaCARES as beautiful as it is.
Thank you, Colin. And thanks to ACA for having us. And thanks to all of you for coming. I did pass out seats to this side of the room, but I have enough for y'all if you stay. Okay, let me get this clicker. Well, I'm going to talk about the horticulture therapy program and then also the art therapy program we have. I wouldn't say it's art therapy, but we got a grant through ACA to hire local artists, some of whom are here, to provide workshops once a month with our clients. So it's been a beautiful addition to our program. But I worked at AcadianaCARES over 10 years ago. I got a master's degree from LSU in horticulture and learned about horticultural therapy when I watched a documentary on a San Francisco prison garden project. And it was so moving, I cried and I said, okay, this is what I want to do. So that really designed path, my wandering path. But luckily, I met Claude through Bradley Black. If any of you know her, she's the one who introduced me to Claude and got me hired, which I was very excited to actually get a job in horticultural therapy. So I have been working with the clients the past 2 years since I moved back from New Orleans, but we have the 90-day program. So clients, many of them come from other 28-day programs, either in town or throughout the state, or from other states. Some are coming from off the street or have been a local client down the street at the jail. Everyone is at a different point in their life, but all of them come seeking recovery, seeking change, seeking help. So the horticulture program, I meet with the clients every day, every morning, rain or shine, like it or not. So I do have to make it fun. Right now we have about 30 clients in the 90-day program. We did just open up our own 28-day program, so now I'm working with those clients. And every client is in a different place, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, as far as their recovery journey. The average is that people attend a rehab up to 7 times before they are successful and have long-term recovery. So many of them have been to a lot of places, and they always say, we love AcadianaCARES. But when they're leaving, they don't really love it. But horticultural therapy historically was Dr. Benjamin Rush in the 1800s. He was a signer of the Declaration of Independence and also known as the father of psychiatry. He recommended walks in the woods, walks in the garden. Before that, it's been used in England and in Egypt. So using gardening and horticulture as a therapy has been around. And then also after World War I and World War II, institutions were built to work with veterans who were wounded or needed psychiatric help. So thankfully Claude has allowed us to build this beautiful program. I don't have a clicker, like this picture is really, okay. Here's some of our campus here. But the goal of horticulture therapy is the process, not the product. We are not trying to grow the most beautiful tomatoes. I do love growing the flowers, that's really my specialty. But basically, day to day, we go out in the garden, we have a greenhouse, we're growing fruits, vegetables, herbs. Lately we've been making mint tea, lemon balm tea. We do have to maintain this giant campus. So it's really interesting. These are some posters that Colin has designed recently. So now that the inside of the building is beautiful and colorful and whatnot. This is also the inside of the building. So when they're not with me doing gardening, they are doing yoga with Cosmos, who's in here somewhere. They're attending groups. So this is kind of Cosmos in the garden, our yoga teacher. So they are there to learn job skills. After the first 30 days, they have to get a job. They have to get a sponsor in order to stay 90 days. If they graduate the 90-day program, they can move across the campus, across the parking lot, and rent a room for $450. And they have to maintain weekly meetings, pay their rent, attend the clinic, all their medical appointments. So it's job skills, it's fun, it's emotional recovery, it's emotional regulation. And here it is. Here's part of our fall garden. We grow most things from seed. We do get stuff donated. We get a ton of plants from Costco, which are kind of a blessing and a curse because they'll be like, oh, Emily, I have 200 hostas. I'm like, so, but thank you, Costco, they're watching. But this is our garden, and I do see a bunch of weeds, but that's okay. but our greenhouse is in the back. So this is where we meet, on the right. All these picnic tables, this is my outdoor classroom. So every morning we meet and talk about what there is to do in the garden. Most of my classes are informal, if you can imagine. They're informal because the garden, there's forever a million things to do. Everyone has different interests, and so the way I approach it, working with new clients every day, also clients are coming, clients are going, clients are in and out all the time. Everyone has different interests. I always ask them, have you gardened before? And they're like, yes or no, and I'm like, if you have, what did you grow? Cucumbers. Or, oh, my grandma had a flower garden, or, so that's how I kind of break the ice and try to connect it with a positive memory. So much of horticulture therapy and all the other group therapy going on is strengths-based. We want to build upon positive memories. We want to build upon their strengths, their likes. So I let clients choose what they want to do often. I'm like, okay, you can weed the cucumbers, you can go water the greenhouse, do you want to start some seeds, we can make some cuttings. Sometimes we all have to do the same thing, but because it's every day, it's every morning for 1 to 2 hours, it is a lot of time. But I think giving that flexibility and openness, to me, builds upon what they're trying to learn in recovery. They have to be internally motivated. So for me to give them a choice to pick what they want to do is building upon their daily choice to be in recovery and create a new life and stay sober, learn new coping skills. So it's funny because the coping skills they learn here are not always the ones they want to learn. Because, for instance, in August, when we have to weed or do something horrible outside, and they don't want to do it, you know, there is resistance, and some people love it, some people hate it, but learning that coping skill, doing something you don't want to do. And so what I say is, if you don't want to weed with me, you can go get a job. Like, go get a job. I don't blame you. You can work in the air conditioning. You're gonna have to. So sometimes I think because it's so uncomfortable being out at the heat, it encourages them. They're like, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to go get a job. So it's kind of some reverse psychology. But again, self-led learning is the process, not the product. Everyone, you know, gardens reset our nervous system. A lot of that is going on. Gardens, just viewing nature decreases our stress, helps us heal faster. So our clients are healing their minds, their bodies, they're adjusting to new medications. So this is a very important part of the program. Oxytocin, research has shown that oxytocin is released in the brain when you work with soil, which is the same chemical that when your mom held you was released in your brain. So that's a beautiful thing. Here's a little bit more of our garden. We have a big greenhouse, we make cuttings of a lot of things to put in the larger landscape, a lot of coleus. So, we do cook. Thankfully, we get returns from Amazon. We also get, all the Amazon returns, believe it or not. So this cool little outdoor electric griddle is what I use often. We grew the squash, we grew the green onions. And so we cook, we make pickles, we make smoothies, we freeze bananas, and they love growing the carrots. That's definitely the hit, pulling the carrots out of the ground. So we got some sugar snap peas. So horticulture is an art and a science. So I lean into the art side of it. So making bouquets is one thing that I offer to the clients. The clients are going through, in many ways, hell. Physically, spiritually, emotionally. And I just say, you can go make a bouquet. And they're like, well, I don't have anybody to give it to. And I'm like, well, just give it to yourself. Put it in your room. So learning self-love, this to me is one of the ways that I kind of subtly encourage that. I'm not always explicitly trying to say, this is a therapy class, da da da. So it's very intrinsic and self-motivating. Calendula we grew in the fall, and we have been saving seeds. This is our new project, so y'all get the first batch of the seeds that we have saved. These are zinnias, actually, in that little packet, but we do have a bunch of calendula we'll be saving. But we also collect glass jars, if anyone has any, for these bouquets. So, okay, now on to our grant that we applied to ACA for. If anyone knows Rebecca Oyer, she was around town years ago. She actually began this program, and it was called Art for Life, and she brought in local artists. Soul Collage is one of them, Miss Renee Roberts, who's here. They were also doing some drama therapy and performed at Cité des Arts. So I came in at the tail end and helped implement her grant after she moved 2 years ago. And then I've rewritten it to be named this, Recovering Senses, Recovering Stories. And so our goal is to bring in artists that really work with the senses. We have the Soul Collage, it's hands, visual. We have, let's see, I have everybody here. Well, we'll start with the music. Music, sound, senses. This is Ms. Jeannie Champagne, who teaches drumming, African drumming. So she brings her slew of drums in her car, and they love it. We sit around, drum. She teaches about African drum history. And then Herb Green, who also leads an African drum troupe, he comes. He's one of the grantees. And this, I think in August, we're gonna go to Basin Arts. And Claire Cook and Monty Williams, they do this really cool movement dance workshop. Last year, in the past, they've come to our space, but now that they have this big, beautiful space, I think the clients are gonna love it to go dance around. So then we also introduced a culinary art piece that was a new addition to the Louisiana Project grant. So we were excited to invite local chefs to come and teach our clients. Many of them work in restaurants. Many of them have been chefs themselves. I mean, our clients have lived lives. They're talented, beautiful, amazing, smart people. So many of them teach us things we didn't know. But it's really fun to bring in professionals who can teach them new skills. So we did a French bread making class. Next week we'll have Jamela Haynes come from Sweet Envie Bakery. And we are still, we still have a few more to go, but that's been really special to have the cooking. And visual artists, this here is Miss Suzanne Bro and Rebecca Baker. They just came and did some botanical dyeing a few weeks ago, and the clients absolutely loved it. I have one piece that's up front, you can see after the talk. But each client got to dye their own, it's really just a kitchen towel. But the gold is from marigolds. They weren't from our garden, but in the future they will be. The red is madder root, and the purple is logwood. So they are experts at what they do. It was incredible. The clients loved it, and they get to keep this beautiful thing as their own. So they wanted to cut them and make scarves. I didn't have the sewing machine set up, but they cut. One of the clients cut his and stapled it to make a scarf. So they figure out ways to get things done. Yeah. Oh, then here's the beautiful Miss Stephanie Patton, who was just here. Well, she came 3 different classes because these books are very intricate and detailed, which I have a few of them up here for y'all to check out. But last year when we were writing the grant, I got in touch with Stephanie and she recommended the bookmaking. So we did a whirl. We had our first whirl, now we know. We learned a lot. But the clients absolutely loved it. And I was impressed to see how focused they stayed, because oftentimes they want to get up and run around or just, they don't want to be sitting down necessarily the whole time. But this really kept their attention, and they were sewing the pages, gluing the pages, and really, because they wanted their own piece of art. They wanted their own thing. And so now they all have their own thing. Some people are going to make a scrapbook or quotes or photographs. So everyone has different ideas, but that was really incredible. So thank you, Stephanie. Here are some quotes. So we do give a pre and post survey of the workshop, and many folks feel creative. They identify as creative, but not necessarily as an artist. But the post surveys, these are some of the quotes. I got out of my comfort zone. You can do things you think you can't do. I feel human again. I think I'll go to college. And I want to thank our lovely sponsors of this grant. We just turned in our grant, a few hours ago. It was due today. But to me, it's really incredible what a small amount of money can do for these clients, for this community that to me doesn't get enough attention. And research shows that the empathy of the clinician or the counselor, the teacher, is more impactful than the specific type of therapy. So whether it's horticulture therapy or art therapy or yoga or a group therapy, the humanity, the connection to a human, another empathetic human, is more impactful to the clients. So if anyone is interested in working and doing a workshop with us or coming to give us a talk or even just coming to tour, everyone is welcome. The clients love attention and love, I think what's beautiful about the art grant is that artists get to come and learn about Lafayette, these are folks in our neighborhoods, they're family members, but we kind of just, there's a they mentality. It's like, oh, we don't know them maybe in person, but to get to know folks and treat them as a human and have art be the medium, excuse me, or gardening be the medium is really incredible. And as far as the group work, my groups are focused very task-oriented, and a lot of it is to build group cohesion and to connect with each other. Because in my group, we are not processing their childhood traumas, abuse, neglect, all of the things that they have experienced. I get to let's just have fun, let's sing some songs, let's play with worms. We do have a worm bin, which is amazing. It's our little pets. So we just mess around and have fun. And to me, that's also the thing. It's like to feel like a child again, to experience joy, happiness, connect with people, so that when they go into their therapy groups and they're sitting in a group with their peers and they have to talk about those regrets, those painful experiences, they feel they're more willing to do that because we get to play and have fun over here. So to me, that's another outcome of these, art therapy, horticulture therapy. So that concludes my portion of the talk. I thank you. Oh, I did want to point out, we did make the sun print quilt, which y'all can come look at after, but basically each client got a square. It's the cyanotype dyeing. So they got to design their own little square, and then we made a quilt, and I want to hang it up in the clinic. But that was funded by the grant, because we had a little extra money, and I was like, oh, I can buy some of these cool little cyanotype prints. But yes, we have books, we have seeds, but we want to open up for questions. Or also, Stephanie and Miss Renee, did either of y'all want to say anything about your experience being an artist and coming to AcadianaCARES? You're invited to, but don't feel pressured.
You first, Renee.
Well, first of all, it was an amazing experience being with these mostly gentlemen. There were a couple of women in the group, and I've done this about 8 or 9 times with them. Every once in a while, I'd have someone different return, and they tell me, because we do 5x8 little collages, just gentle, no big canvas, no big fear. And some of them will come up and go, you don't remember me, but I made a collage with you last year and I keep it on my windowsill. And that just meant the world to me. And at the end of the program, we do kind of a walkthrough, get to see everybody's little collages. And we don't ask interfering questions, but we ask, how did this process work for you? And I had this one gentleman that said, ma'am, I didn't know I could do anything like this. And I was just like, oh. And then he goes, in fact, I didn't know this even existed. And it sets you back. You know, it makes you like, all of a sudden, all this gratitude in my life. This man had never seen anything like this before, and I take it for granted. So when you go in there, you come out a different person, just like you hope they did too. And it's an amazing adventure. I hope I can do it again. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Sure, I don't know if I need the microphone. Do I? I talk loud anyway. But I'll just say that it was a life-changing experience, and I thank you for inviting me. I've worked with all ages of students, college students, little bitty kids, high school students. I've never worked with anyone with recovery issues, anything like this in my life, and it changed me. It absolutely did. And the clients, I think when you said you look at them as people, they are people. These are people who are trying to change their lives. And I learned so much from working with them and just the bonding and just seeing how some were like teaching the other ones how to make the book. They were so good. A lot of the men really loved making the books too. But then there were some who were like, Miss Stephanie, Miss Pat, I don't know, I've never threaded a needle in my life before. And it was true. And they were helping each other. And I just think, and I'm changed from the experience. And I wish them all the best, and I hope to do it again. And Emily, you were amazing. And I got to have lunch with Colin and Emily. But thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
I have a two-part question. So when Sam kicked us off, he talked about artists starting to be entrepreneurs in town and getting going and things like this. What resources would be available at CARES for people starting out? We know that healthcare is a big concern for people coming out, and you mentioned that you have healthcare facilities, mental health assistance as well. Is there a way that people could easily get in contact and get connected with some of the services you can offer?
Yes, I mean, our clinic is open to the public, so we have doctors, a podiatrist, a therapist, and a pharmacy now. So that's one avenue for the general public. On the back of the seed chart, the seed packet, we do have a QR code that brings you to our website to talk about the Seasons of Serenity program.
That's absolutely right. AcadianaCARES.org, and all the information that you need is there. All the phone numbers and contact information. So, if you or someone you know is interested in going into any part of the SOS or Seasons of Serenity program, we have a number for that takes referrals or anyone who wants to know more about it. And then, of course, if you want to access services, health services, like Emily said, to our clinic, all the information is there as well.
Then the second part of that question is, how can that same group of people be plugged into the ways that they can be of assistance to your organization? So these are people that will be building portfolios. These are people that are looking to get involved. They need clients. They may want small grant opportunities to be able to go do something. And so are there good resources or opportunities for emerging artists to come and connect?
Oh yeah, we have unlimited resources. No, not resources, opportunities. Yes, I mean, the clients, love new people, they love learning new things, whether it's a new artist or a new musician. I would say have them contact us and we can set up, they can tour and see how, if they feel capable or willing to work in a new setting. And yeah, we love partnerships, we love everybody. I do want to say for young artists and musicians, or middle-aged ones, I guess, like me, the clinic accepts Medicaid. So being that we're not all full-time employees with healthcare, we accept Medicaid. They can enroll you in Medicaid. So I know that's not available at all doctors and clinics, office around town.
Yes.
Chris, thanks.
Well, I was going to answer to that too and say, at a time in my life when I was in between jobs and had lost insurance, I used the walk-in clinic and go there and had great service. And the new facility is beautiful and very
Yeah,
well done.
it really is.
Yeah. So it's a great resource for artists and folks that are not on a salary with an insurance policy.
Thanks for the plug. Yes, ma'am.
I've been wondering about the social media campaign, which is brilliant, recently.
Oh, thank you, yeah.
The profile on Kodak, and I know the brilliant work that Emily's been doing for a number, maybe a decade or more. But that was you did that?
No, I mean, I work on it, and I help provide some direction to the marketing agency that does, they do like the real hard work. I just kind of help curate it and stuff like that. Yeah, it's Right Angle, yeah. So the amazing Cheryl Bowie, yeah, does that work with her agency, Right Angle, and they are fantastic. They've worked on a lot of important community projects and stuff like that over the years. So yeah, good people.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, yes, Lori Linton. I just first want to say thank you for all that you do in the community. I have so many friends that use your resources, so really thank you. I was just curious, as a plant person, is there opportunities to purchase cuttings or bouquets?
We haven't gotten there yet.
Okay,
That is a dream.
okay.
We do propagate a lot of things that I wish would disappear. But so I'm like, we make mint and
If there's
so okay. Well, leave me your number. The clients have asked, like, can we go sell this at the little market? It's more just of a logistical thing and cash, it is, I would like to do it. So thank you for that vote, that you would like to purchase things. Even with the seeds, we just created these seed packets to give away, to just let people know about the program, but then I was like, well, maybe we should just sell these. Any little bit helps. So I will, if I get your number, I'll let you know. And maybe you can help organize it.
Yeah, I have an idea. If anybody knows anybody that has a museum downtown that they could have people out in front of during art walk, that would be a good opportunity to sell some of those coins.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a quick tangential question. Are y'all doing anything, or do you have any connection with the Acadiana Native Plant Project?
That's not directly, but we know them and we love them. If they want to donate some plants, I am trying to grow more natives. So that is a partnership waiting to blossom. So if you can connect us, that would be great. Yes, ma'am.
So this isn't a question, this is just me being really nerdy out loud. But I was listening to you talking about the oxytocin and about the gratitude overflowing and about feeling changed as a person that made this happen for all of these beautiful humans that are on a journey to better themselves. And I think you each deserve a coffee mug or a t-shirt or a large banner over your beautiful oasis. It's a line from a Pablo Neruda poem, one of the most beautiful lines, and it goes, I want to do with you what spring does to the cherry trees. So maybe you can serve it.
Thank you. Well, you should come speak. You're invited. No, really, everyone is invited. It's a beautiful experience. Just, yeah, it's.
I wanted to give a kind of I thought about it a little bit more, and I always have to think a little bit after a question. So, Mr. David over here asking about how people can get involved. So one of the things that I've been doing is trying to put together, we're like, they're giving us the wrap it up thing. One of the things that I've been working on, in addition to marketing, communications, and all that stuff, is trying to do a little bit of community development work. And that means trying to reach out to local groups to not just come and take a tour, but so that we can talk to them about some things that they may not know about. So, for instance, a lot of people are not aware of pre-exposure prophylaxis, which is PrEP, which is really a miracle drug that has been a game changer in preventing the spread of HIV. It is a drug that I take every single day to make sure that I don't get HIV. And it's a once a daily pill. It's also something that you can, that anyone can take as a shot like every 2 months, or even there's a 6-month one. But I would say a lot of the people who are at a higher risk for getting HIV, at least in the white community, know about these drugs. But a lot of people of color do not know about them, or the word is not getting out, or there's some kind of maybe stigma or fear about going into a clinic and going, oh, being afraid of people saying, oh, he's going to the HIV clinic, why is he going there? So there are a lot of issues of stigma and things like that in various communities here in Lafayette. And it's preventing people from getting the care that they need and the prevention that they need. So if you know an organization, so I've been very good friends with Phyllis Mouton, who started Women of Wisdom. I've been friends, I've known her for a long time, and she's been a mentor of mine, and she brought her group over, and we said, hey, you're a group of moms and grandmoms. Tell your grandsons, are you on PrEP? Right? Ask them, okay? So that is a way that people can help, is get the word out, tell us, bring people to us, tell people, talk to us about groups that we can bring in to have these conversations, even if they're awkward, because they are sometimes. It's awkward to tell a grandmother who doesn't know what the heck PrEP is that she needs to tell her grandson to get on it, okay? But we need to have these conversations. That's where we could use your help. Thank you.
Thank you all for being such a great audience. Thanks, ACA.